Ever stop to think how weird and downright unbelievable our planet actually is? From hidden lakes deep under Antarctica to islands inside lakes on islands inside lakes, seriously, Earth is full of facts that sound like fiction. But trust this, everything you're about to hear is 100% real. Let's dive into 50 mind-bending geographic facts that seem like a lie, but absolutely aren't. 1. Mauna Kea is taller than Everest? Most people think Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth, and that's partly true. Everest has the highest altitude above sea level, soaring up to 8,848 meters. But if you measured a mountain from base to summit, Mauna Kea in Hawaii takes the crown. Its base starts way beneath the Pacific Ocean, and if measured from there, it rises over 10,200 meters. That's taller than Everest, but most of it is underwater, so it doesn't get the same spotlight. 2. The point closest to space isn't Everest. Here's a twist. The point on Earth closest to outer space isn't Everest. It's actually the summit of Mount Chimborazo in Ecuador. Due to Earth's bulge at the equator, Chimborazo sticks out further into space than Everest does. It only reaches 6,263 meters above sea level, but its position on the planet's widest part gives it that cosmic edge. 3. The driest place on Earth has almost no rain. You'd think deserts get at least a little rain, right? Not the Atacama Desert in Chile. This place is so dry, some weather stations have never recorded a single drop of rain, ever. Parts of the Atacama are believed to have been hyper-arid for over 3 million years. Mars might feel more hydrated. 4. The wettest place isn't a rainforest. Most people assume the Amazon or some jungle would win the Most Rain Award, but it's actually Mawson Ram, a village in Meghalaya, India. It gets pummeled with around 11,872 millimeters of rain every single year. That's like being under a waterfall for months. 5. Earth's deepest ocean trench is mind-blowing. The Mariana Trench is home to the planet's deepest point, the Challenger Deep. It's nearly 11,000 meters below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. That's deeper than commercial airliners fly high. You could sink Mount Everest into it and still have over a kilometer of water above its peak. 6. Lake Baikal isn't just deep, it's ancient. In Siberia, Russia, Lake Baikal holds the title of the deepest freshwater lake in the world at 1,642 meters. But get this, it's also considered the oldest, formed around 25 million years ago. Plus, it holds about 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater. 7. Nepal has the most dramatic elevation drop. Nepal is wild when it comes to elevation. It drops from just 60 meters above sea level in the Tri-Lowlands to the peak of Everest at 8,848 meters, all in just a few hundred kilometers. No other country has such a steep elevation range in such a small area. 8. Spain and Africa are practically neighbors. At the narrowest point of the Strait of Gibraltar, only 14 kilometers separate Spain from Morocco. On a clear day, you can literally see one continent from the other. Europe and Africa are closer than most people realize. 9. Russia and the US are just 4 kilometers apart. The Diomede Islands in the Bering Strait are split between Russia and the US. The two islands, Big Diomede, Russia, and Little Diomede, USA, are only about 3.8 kilometers apart. And here's the kicker, they're also a day apart because the international date line runs between them. 10. Canada is basically made of lakes. Over 60% of the world's lakes are in Canada. We're talking over 3 million lakes, including giants like Lake Superior. If you're into fresh water, Canada's the ultimate destination. 11. 4 countries meet at one point in Africa. There's a rare spot on the Zambezi River where 4 countries, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Botswana, and Namibia, nearly touch. It's known as the 4 Corners of Africa, and it's one of the world's only quadrupoints. 12. One city spans 2 continents. Istanbul, Turkey, is the only major city that lies on 2 continents, Europe and Asia. It's divided by the Bosphorus Strait, which runs right through the middle of the city. You could literally take a ferry across and switch continents during lunch break. 13. China borders more countries than anyone. China has land borders with 14 countries, more than any other nation. It touches nations ranging from India to North Korea to Russia. If you ever plan a road trip around China, better bring a really big map. 14. France has 12 time zones. France has 12 time zones. Nope, that's not a typo. France technically spans 12 time zones, thanks to its overseas territories scattered across the globe, from the Caribbean to the South Pacific. That's more than any other country in the world. 15. A country inside a country? Yep. Lesotho is completely surrounded by South Africa. It's not just bordering, it's entirely enclosed. There are only 2 other countries like it, San Marino and Vatican City, both surrounded by Italy. 16. The Nile River flows backwards. Kind of. Most major rivers in the Northern Hemisphere flow south, but the Nile, it flows north, from the highlands of Central Africa to the Mediterranean Sea. This quirky direction helped shape ancient Egypt's entire civilization. 17. A lake that boils from below. Lake Enriquillo in the Dominican Republic is not only salty, it sometimes appears to boil, not because of heat, but due to volcanic gases rising from below. This high-temperature activity makes it feel like the lake is alive. 18. A living reef you can see from space. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia isn't just massive, it's alive. Stretching over 2,300 kilometers, it's the largest structure on Earth made by living organisms. And yes, astronauts have confirmed it's visible from space. 19. A geyser field that's a natural giant. Chile's El Tatio might not have the tallest geysers, but it's one of the biggest geyser fields on Earth. This geothermal wonderland is the 3rd largest of its kind, offering a surreal landscape of steaming vents and bubbling pools. 20. Freshwater coral reefs exist in a lake. In Lake Baikal, yep, the same deep one, scientists found structures made by freshwater sponges that look eerily like coral reefs. These aren't your tropical corals, but they form reef-like clusters, making Baikal even more bizarre. 21. Antarctica is actually a desert. Antarctica might be icy and cold, but it's technically the largest desert in the world. It gets less precipitation than the Sahara, and most of it falls as snow. So next time you think desert equals sand, think again. 22. Secret lakes under ice. Hidden beneath Antarctica's ice are massive subglacial lakes like Lake Vostok. These lakes have been isolated from the surface for millions of years and might hold microbial life no one's ever seen before. 23. Nature-sculpted spiky snowblades in the Andes. High in the Andes, sunlight and wind work together to carve snow and ice into jagged, blade-like formations called penitentes. Some grow taller than a person. It's like nature made its own frozen army. 24. London is farther north than you think. London sits at around 51 degrees north latitude, the same as Calgary, Canada. But thanks to the warm Gulf Stream, London has way milder winters. Geography and ocean currents can really mess with your expectations. 25. Australia is wider than the moon. Yes, seriously. The moon's diameter is about 3,474 kilometers. But from east to west, Australia stretches over 4,000 kilometers. So the next time you hear down under, think wider than the moon. 26. Africa is in all 4 hemispheres. Africa is the only continent that stretches across all 4 hemispheres: north, south, east, and west. The equator slices it almost in half, and the prime meridian runs right through it. That makes it geographically unique on the globe. 27. The saltiest body of water isn't the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea gets all the fame for being salty and floaty, but it's not the saltiest. That title goes to places like Lake Assal in Djibouti or Don Juan Pond in Antarctica. Don Juan Pond has a salinity that allows it to remain liquid even in freezing temperatures. 28. The windiest spot on Earth is in Antarctica. Commonwealth Bay, Antarctica, is the windiest place on Earth. Winds here often exceed 240 kilometers per hour. That's stronger than most hurricanes, and it's not just an occasional gust. It happens regularly due to katabatic winds. 29. The Great Blue Hole is a giant sinkhole. Off the coast of Belize lies the Great Blue Hole, a perfectly circular underwater sinkhole. It formed during the ice ages when sea levels were lower. When the ocean rose, it filled in, creating a mesmerizing deep blue circle in the sea. 30. A river that ends in a desert. The Okavango River in Botswana doesn't flow into an ocean or a lake. Instead, it empties into a massive inland delta and just disappears into the sands of the Kalahari Desert. It creates one of the most unique and vibrant ecosystems in the world. 31. Earth isn't a perfect sphere. Despite how globes look, the Earth isn't a perfect sphere. It's slightly squished at the poles and bulges at the equator. This shape is called an oblate spheroid, caused by the planet's rotation. 32. Earth's core is hotter than the sun's surface. Yep. The inner core of Earth is believed to reach temperatures around 6,000 degrees Celsius, roughly the same as, or even hotter than, the surface of the sun. That heat drives plate tectonics, volcanic activity, and magnetic fields. 33. Magnetic poles. Flip, really. Earth's magnetic poles don't stay put. Over geologic time, they've flipped, meaning the North Magnetic Pole becomes the South Magnetic Pole and vice versa. These reversals have happened many times, and we might be overdue for another. 34. Continents move at the pace of fingernails. Continents aren't fixed. Thanks to plate tectonics, they move a few centimeters per year, about the same speed as fingernails grow. Over millions of years, this adds up to massive shifts in Earth's layout. 35. Zealandia, the lost continent. Beneath the waves of the Southwest Pacific lies Zealandia, a mostly submerged continent that includes New Zealand and New Caledonia. It sank about 23 million years ago and was only recently classified as a continent in geological terms. 36. The Aral Sea almost vanished. Once the world's fourth largest lake, the Aral Sea has shrunk dramatically since the 1960s. Rivers feeding it were diverted for irrigation, leaving behind a desert where fishing towns once thrived. It's one of the world's biggest man-made ecological disasters. 37. Half the world lives in one circle. A single circle on the map centered on Myanmar contains over half of the global population. That circle includes parts of China, India, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Japan, and the Philippines, some of the most densely populated places on Earth. 38. Indonesia has over 17,000 islands. Indonesia isn't just a few big islands like Java and Sumatra. It's made up of more than 17,500 islands. It's the world's largest island country and home to incredible biodiversity, cultures, and volcanoes. 39. Tokyo, the most populated metro area. The Greater Tokyo area in Japan is the world's most populous metropolitan region with over 37 million people. That's more than the entire population of Canada living in one megacity. 40. Maldives is the flattest country on Earth. The Maldives has an average elevation of just 1.5 meters above sea level. It's the flattest and lowest country on Earth, making it especially vulnerable to rising sea levels and climate change. 41. Canada has the longest coastline. With countless bays, inlets, and over 52,000 islands, Canada boasts the world's longest coastline, stretching over 243,000 kilometers. That's enough to wrap around the Earth more than 6 times. 42. A lake with a lake on an island in a lake. In the Philippines, Taal Lake is home to Volcano Island. Inside that island is another lake called Main Crater Lake, and inside that lake is yet another island, Vulcan Point. It's a lake within a lake on an island in a lake on an island. Geography inception. 43. The deepest canyon isn't the Grand one. The Grand Canyon in Arizona is massive, but it's not the deepest, the Yarlung Sangpo. Grand Canyon in Tibet plunges deeper with a maximum depth of over 5,500 meters. That's more than a vertical mile deeper than the Grand Canyon. 44. The North Pole isn't the northernmost point. It sounds strange, but the Earth's magnetic north isn't at the North Pole. The magnetic pole moves over time and is currently drifting toward Russia. It's not a fixed spot and shifts by dozens of kilometers every year. 45. The largest tree by volume is a giant. The General Sherman tree in California's Sequoia National Park is the biggest tree in the world by volume, not height. It stands about 84 meters tall, but what's jaw-dropping is its trunk volume, around 1,487 cubic meters. 46. Tallest underground waterfall? It's a stunner. Deep inside Veriovkina Cave in Georgia, there's an underground waterfall that drops around 2,700 meters. That's taller than any above-ground waterfall and hidden beneath layers of rock. 47. A lake with thousands of islands. Finland's land of 1,000 lakes isn't just a nickname. One lake, Lake Saimea, is dotted with thousands of tiny islands, creating a maze-like geography that looks like a natural jigsaw puzzle. 48. Indonesia has the most volcanoes. Indonesia sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, so it's no surprise it has more active volcanoes than any other country. Over 120 volcanoes are considered active, and they shape much of the land, culture, and life around them. 49. Australia has no glaciers. Unlike every other continent, Australia has no active glaciers today. Its warm climate and lack of high mountains make it the odd one out. Even Africa has some glaciers, just barely, on Mount Kilimanjaro. 50. Point Nemo, Earth's most remote spot. Point Nemo, located in the South Pacific Ocean, is the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It's the farthest point from any land, over 2,600 kilometers from the nearest shore. It's so remote, even the closest humans are often astronauts orbiting above in the ISS. Space agencies even use it as a spacecraft graveyard. Still think Earth is a predictable little rock? These 50 jaw-dropping geographic facts just proved otherwise. From upside-down rivers to ghost continents and multi-layered islands, our world is full of wild surprises that defy what's taught in classrooms. Nature, it turns out, is the best storyteller. If that blew your mind, imagine what else you haven't heard yet. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still thinks geography is boring. They won't after this. Thanks for watching. See you in the next mind-bending video.